Hello, hello. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Krista White. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Crow Canyon, and we've got a great workshop planned for you. We have a lot of new features to cover, and I have James Restivo with me today. He will be sharing all the fun new updates that we've rolled out. But before I introduce him, I'd like to go ahead and just cover a couple housekeeping items. So first of all, we'll keep this a little bit more high level today. Of course, each of you has a slightly different configuration. So if you have a really in-depth question that you really want to dive deep on it, we're of course always here for you to help with that. And we do want to hear from you. So as you might remember, if you've been on previous workshops, we put these together to answer your questions. We put these together to support you. The goal is to give you content that helps you. And so we want to hear from you. So don't be shy. Use that question box, any questions that come to mind. And lastly, this will be recorded. We'll be uploading this to our website as well as our YouTube channel. So you can always reference it afterwards and rewatch it as many times as your heart desires. So with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and introduce James. James, what do you have for us today?
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Yeah, we've got some cool new features here. We're going to show you some really cool stuff. We've been working behind the scenes. A lot of what we've been doing lately has been application specific. So we've been working a lot on our NITRO help desk and getting a lot going on that. I'm going to go ahead and change myself to presenter in a moment here. So a lot of what we've released in this latest go round has been to inform our applications, but our general NITRO users can get a lot out of it as well. So I'm really hoping that you can get some good insight out of this, some good content. And of course, there's always things that I was actually just poking around today on preparing for this. And I was like, oh, I forgot we could do that. I forgot I could do that in forms because we did some form updates. So if there's anything you see, like Krista said, if anything you want to dig into in more detail that is not a topic we've covered, then we can certainly do that. Just kind of lay the groundwork for what I want to cover today. There's just a few things I want to talk about. And there's a lot that we just got our new version log posted. I haven't gotten the release notes posted yet, but the version log has some updates from this latest NITRO release that we put out there, 2.5.37. And it's got some different things across the whole gamut of the different elements of NITRO that we have, NITRO forms, custom actions, a few other things like that, NITRO workflows, etc. So it's got some good stuff. And I'm not going to go through every single thing because some of it's just like a setting change or something. As I go through the release notes, I'll get a little more detail out there for you, so you can go check that when that's ready. But today I want to really focus on really three main things: the NITRO form updates, the new action in custom actions and workflows to create a Teams meeting, and this will be for 365, and then the ability to print a form as it appears as your NITRO form. So these are all things that are going to be helpful for you. The NITRO forms will be some good UI changes, UI updates that you can run through. The Create Teams meeting is going to be a fantastic feature for functionality for business process, and then printing a form as well. I think could be really useful for different processes that you might have in place. So I'll start with the NITRO forms, and I've got to open my NITRO forms tool set here. And a couple things that we've worked on with the NITRO form are as follows. So one thing we've been asked about, and some folks have been clamoring for, is the ability to manage how the sections, when you have a section form like this, or I just change over to sections from tabs. When you have it like this, how do you determine what sections collapse, what sections expand, and how do you control that? So until this release, what you could do is have the first section expand and then all the others collapse, or all of them expand and none of them collapse. So that didn't leave you guys with enough options. So we went in here and we configured it so that each section can now have a determination whether it should collapse or expand on form load. So this would be when the person opens up the form, new form, edit form, display form, whatever it is, and you can determine whether or not that section of the form should be expanded or not when that form is loaded. And you'll see that over here on the right-hand side, we've got this expand section. So previously we had this expand subsection sections, which would work for a tab or a section when we had like other drag and drop other sections in here. But now we can have it apply to each section individually for whether you want to expand it or collapse it. So each one of these can come in and have that setting to expand or collapse. And that way, when the form loads, so go ahead and just make these all expand, except for maybe the last one. I'll leave that one as collapse. Apply that. This should apply across the board here. Expand, apply, expand, apply. Make sure you always hit apply. I did not do that. And make sure this one's set up to do that. Expand, okay, apply. All right, so now when we preview the new form, you see expands all those sections except for that last one, which I left as collapse. So now you can granularly go in and decide which sections do you want to expand out, which ones do you want to collapse. That's going to be really helpful for driving your users to see what you need them to see in the form without having to take an extra click to expand the section. So that should be helpful for a number of reasons for you guys. So hopefully you get some use out of that one. Another one you'll see here that's an interesting UI update is that we can add these little border tags between each of these tabs. So this is a tab update that we can control through the theme of the form. And so if you go to, you see I created a new theme here called default 2. If I come in here, you'll see on the tab/section area, you now have a tab separator. So that's where we've got there, the tab separator. And you can control what that tab separator looks like as far as the width, the height, and by width in pixels, height in percentage, and color. So if you wanted to have like a red line between each of these and have it, I think a little smaller than 10 pixels would probably look good, but you wanted to expand the whole height of the tab, you could do that. Just hit save, and there you go. Now you got a little different separator. So that can help, drive your users to which tabs, or just really show that there's a separation between these tabs. Of course, I like to use red bold colors when showing this stuff, just to really highlight where it is, what it looks like. But certainly you could use a black, you could use a gray like I was using before. You can use any kind of color, yellow, green, whatever color makes sense. You could go ahead and put that in there so you have that tab separation for your tabs. So just a couple little things we put in here for the UI of forms that might help you out. There's also a couple of JavaScript function updates we put in here, so you can add days to a date column. There's a few other things we did in here to kind of help move things along. I did also see that there is an update to have the associated items look more like our list view. But I was waiting on feedback from my team on what we actually changed in here, because it looked kind of the same, to be honest. I didn't really see much of a difference, but just kind of as a reminder, you do have a lot of these options in the associated column to make it look the way you want it to look, especially if you want it on a mobile device. You have a mobile option, so have it look a little different than what it was normally. You have some UI settings. There's some JSON settings you can play around with to manage the grid size, the border colors, and things like that. I think these are things I've talked about in previous workshops, but just kind of as a reminder, there's different things you can do with the UI for the associated columns to make your form look better, make it look nicer. So you can definitely play around with those settings and see what works best for you. So I'm going to move on from that in the forms, and certainly, again, if there's any questions or anything you want to cover in the forms in more detail, or any part of the program in more detail, let me know. But now I'm going to move on over to the creating of the Teams meeting, which I think is going to be something a lot of people will get use out of in our product. So we've created this new action called create meeting. So you'll see it down here. Krista, make a note. We'll have to get the graphic of the teams in there behind it so that we know it's a Teams meeting. But actually, no, I think it could be agnostic to whether it's Teams or something else. But we'll explore that as we go through it. So we got this new create meeting option. They'll be there for custom actions and for NITRO workflows, and this will be there for online only. So this is really only there for the online side. I believe we intend to extend support to on-prem at some point, but I'll have to check with my dev team on that. So when you create it, you can plop it into your workflow and create the Teams meeting. and you can create it for any time. And so we'll just kind of walk through the settings here. So the details of it are, who's the organizer. So this is the person who will get it on their calendar. In this case, I chose assigned staff because I'm using the NITRO help desk as a backend here. We have an assigned staff field, which is a person assigned to a ticket to help resolve it. So they're going to be the organizer. They're going to be ones clicking the button. They'll be able to create the meeting, and it'll be created on their calendar, as well as anyone else's calendar that is specified in the attendees section. So you could have, again, a placeholder for requester, which is the person on the form. And like any of our other placeholder areas, you can decide if there's specific people who should always be part of it. You can use the users and groups to specify specific groups. The column is the placeholder, or if there's a specific email address you want to put in there as always needing to attend these meetings, you could do that. So in this scenario, what I did is added this to our IT ticket so that when the idea would be that the assigned staff person is going through the ticket saying, oh, I need to set up a call for this person, I'm going to create a Teams meeting. And so there'll be a button, and I'll show you how that works when we get to the form piece of it. But you can have required attendees, optional attendees. You can have a start time, which it could be use a placeholder. I chose now because it made the most sense. You could probably do some kind of function where you do now plus 30 minutes or whatever it might be. You can choose the duration. So it could typically be 30 minutes. And we use our, see, have the format here, days at the front, which is 0, hours at the front, second section, which is 0, minutes of 30, and seconds of 0. So that will be creating a meeting that'll go on for 30 minutes from whatever the start time is, which I'm choosing in this case as now, whenever I click that button. So we can toggle a few other options here where you could allow time proposals. You could choose a location. That could be a placeholder as well. You could actually choose whether to create it as a Teams meeting or not. So you maybe, in this case, what it would do is just simply create the meeting on your schedule, and then you can go and put your meeting details if you're using WebEx or GoToMeeting or some other function. You would have to go and put that into your calendar invite. But at the very least, what this would do is create the calendar invite with the correct attendees that you want, and then you can backfill other information afterwards once it's put on your calendar. So I'm going to use Teams meeting because we use Teams a lot here. You got options for priority. You have an option for what the template looks like for what goes out to the person, to the recipients, to the attendees. What is this going to look like? So we can create a mail template, and it can be very simple. I just created a very simple one, said IT support meeting with blah, assigned staff. Please join the meeting. It's very simple. Nothing too crazy there. All right, come back in here, and then you have some other options around the creating the meeting as far as whether you want to include attachments from the item that you're creating it from. You can choose your own attachments, or if you have a specific attachments column on the form, you could use that. If you're using a generate document function in your workflow, you could have it be create a document and generate the document in your workflow and then attach it to the meeting itself. So this could be a scenario where you want to start a project, but you need to have a kickoff call, and maybe you have a kickoff document that you want to generate, which has some basic details about the project. And then you always want to, whenever you kick it off, maybe you always have it a week from now, right? From the week from whenever you click the button. So that could be another use case. So like you want to create a project and a kickoff call, you could do that through this function as an option. Within within the item, whatever item you're choosing to kick this off from, you could also put details in the work log or some other column that is going to take the information. It could be any kind of multi-line text column, really. And what this does is it records that a meeting was created at what time, what day, and with whom. So that way, if you're working through your tickets, working through your work orders, whatever it might be, and you want to log the fact that you created a meeting, you can do that, and it'll go onto the ticket. I'll show you that when I get to when I create this on the ticket itself. And there's some other custom script we can add in there because we always like to give you the option to add in custom scripting if you'd like. And that's about it. So that's the create meeting option. I've already created it, I published it. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to our ticket form. Let's give this a moment to come back. I've got my Teams meeting example over here. And like any custom action, you have the option, let me just jump over there again real quick. You have the option for where you show the action. In this case, I just chose to show it in the display form, but you could also show it in the edit control block, the item print manager, the list view ribbon, wherever you might need to see this particular custom action. In this case, I just chose the display form. So I'm going to come over here to my dropdown where I see more options. I'm going to launch the Teams meeting. You can see the requester is Prakash. You can see I'm the assigned staff. And I'm going to go ahead and launch that. So it runs through, creates the meeting. It's going to send an email over to Prakash to say, hey, we got a meeting. It's going on right now. And then at that point, all you have to do is click over to your calendar. I'll give this a moment to load. It might not come up right away, but it does come up pretty quickly to show on your calendar. And there it is, actually, yeah, right now. So you can see I created a couple earlier today, but here's the meeting. I created it as a Teams meeting. It's already on my calendar, and I just hit join and go right to it. The recipient just hits join and goes right to it. So that could be a way you could get that remote support going. You could even call the action like initiate remote support session. Creates the Teams meeting. Just go and join your Teams meeting. Get the other person to join, and you're good to go as far as getting that meeting going. So that's how you would create a Teams meeting. So yeah, definitely is a cool feature, I think, of being able to work from within the ticket and create that meeting. Now you could probably do that as part of a workflow that's attached to the NITRO Engage bot, even, so that if you're interacting through the bot, you could say have a button to create a Teams meeting, and then you do it. It just follow the same functions, so the same process. Because it's the same kind of custom action, or if it's in workflow, you could do it through a workflow through the bot as well. So a couple different ways you can engage with creating that meeting. But I think, again, a very, very useful way to tie more closely what we're doing in the SharePoint side with NITRO and team side with using it for meetings, using it for conversations, using it for various other things, just adds into that process. And so great question coming in. Is there a way to check availability of the assigned staff? Unfortunately, I don't think there is, because we're taking the start time of that meeting as I use now as the placeholder, but we certainly use a static time or some other function to calculate the time. But the custom action at the time it runs doesn't know when the assigned staff person's available, so we don't have that specifically. I think really the intention is for the person who's running that action to be the assigned staff, so they would know, I am available now. This person's available now. I know the person I'm working with is available now. Let me hit the button, create the meeting, and just get it going. The other side of it that's really nice when doing it this way is that, yeah, sure, you could go to Teams and create the meeting and do it that way. That's no problem. But what you don't get when you do it outside the ticket is that you don't get the work log update. And you can see that this is the update I'm talking about, where you can see there was a meeting created and it records who created it, or who the organizer was, who the attendees were, and what time it was created. So it gives you all that information, attaches it to the ticket, which you're not going to get if you just go outside the ticket and create it. So that's another benefit of doing it through the ticket. But yeah, in general, the intention is that the assigned staff person is the one who's doing it. Usually whoever the organizer is the person who's going to be running that action. There might be cases where that's not the case, but generally that is going to be the case. But there is not, but unfortunately, there's not a way for us to identify if that organizer or any of those attendees are available at that time through this action itself. You'd have to go outside of it, or go into Teams and see if people are available. All right, great question. All right, so that's the Teams meeting piece. And then the other thing I want to touch on today is the print manager and the printing out form as it appears on the NITRO form. So this question we've gotten a lot over the years, and we finally got around to getting on the calendar to do this, where you create this nice, beautiful NITRO form, but then you want to print it out either as a PDF or send it as an email, as an attachment, whatever. But you can't, because the form, the print manager didn't have the option to replicate the NITRO form. Well, now we do. So previously, you had these options where you could do a table, which looks pretty nice, but it gives you the details of what the ticket's all about or what the item has in it. You have the rich text placeholders, so you could build it out and really kind of build it what you want it to look like. But this is where we got some feedback where people are like, oh, I've created this nice NITRO form, but now I got to come in here and build it again with this rich text process, and so kind of like double the work. No, we get that. All right, so that makes sense. So now we gave you the option to create the NITRO, the print based on the NITRO form, and you can choose which form it is. So you can even go into NITRO forms to design your print template, right? So you don't even have to use any of the existing forms, and you can create a form that is specific to printing that you can use for printing out whatever you need to print out. And so then you come over here and select that particular form that you want to print out. So that we could choose tickets, we could choose portal ticket. There's a couple other forms we've created in here for different processes. I'm going to choose tickets for now and use that, and then I'll come and switch over to portal ticket so you can see how it's a little bit different. But I'm going to go ahead and save that. And we're going to come over to our ticket workspace and take one of these. I'll take this one. And we use the print option. And now you can select your template. So we've got ticket form print, and it looks like that. So now when you go and print it out, the tabs became sections, but that's kind of how we did it so we could get all the information on here, right? So you might have been thinking, like, how is it going to see all the different tabs across the top and see all the information? Well, this is how, because we switch it over to sections by default to show everything. All right, sorry, I felt like I had a sneeze coming, so I went on mute for a minute there. I apologize. Portal ticket. If we switch over to that as our template, it's going to look a little different, of course. So select that and refresh this just to make sure it gets the new settings, which I think it will. Even without the refresh, but I'll just refresh just to be safe. And item print. Ticket form print. And there you go. So now there's your ticket details as related to the portal form. So it's going to look a little different. You got the time and date. That's part of the form. Of course, that could be removed. You can put as much or as little in here as you want through the NITRO form, but the take-home message is that you can now design your printout through NITRO forms rather than having to design it separately from the print rich text option, which, as you can see, is kind of cumbersome and unwieldy. It gives you some nice options, certainly, for sure, but I think our NITRO form is a lot easier to use and a lot easier to get your head around. So you could use that instead and design a really nice looking form that can be printed out and used in your processes, whatever those might be. I'm just going to play around a little bit, see what the different things are here. See if this looks different. Yeah, see, there's a different form. Doesn't have a lot to it, but the different form that we use in a process. But that's it's going to honor whatever the NITRO form has in it. So if you want to make it look nice, you can make it look nice through the NITRO form, and you're good to go. So there you go. So those are the main things I wanted to show you, but just to touch on a couple other things, we've been rolling out 5K support for the over 5,000 limit. There's that list view threshold that SharePoint has with views, and we've created different ways to get around that. We've brought that to list rollup. We've had that for list view for a couple months now, I think. Now we've brought that to list rollup as well, and we also have unified our list settings, the view settings, so that the list rollup can look like a list view. The associated items in the forms can look like a list view. So just try to unify and have some consistency across the list, what the options are for when you look at your data, whether it's through a list rollup, whether it's through associated items, or through a list view. We want to give you some kind of consistency in what that looks like. So there's options. Something I didn't prepare for this workshop because I didn't really get time, but it looks like there's some updates to our reports as well. I just want to take a peek at that, where we can add link in the report settings page to navigate the site, list, and columns. Let me see what that looks like. Edit one of these. Okay, interesting. All right. So you see these little like launch URL icons over here. Now we can go and launch the specific site, launch the specific list. Let's get to the list settings. Look at that. That's pretty nice. Or launch the specific column. So I think we can get to, what's this going to go to? Let me find out. Column settings. Oh, that's interesting. So that's from the NITRO report settings screen. We can go to those different levels that we have here by clicking the link. We can go directly to the site. We can go directly to the list settings, and we can go directly to the column settings. That can be useful for you as you're going through and trying to see what the different elements are in the report. You can click that button and go see, okay, that's the column that we're using. Here's the details of that column. What type of column is it? Maybe there's a question on that, and that rather than taking you out of the report center context and going to that list and through site contents or whatever, you can directly go to the list settings, or you can go directly to the column settings right through here. Kind of make it a nice way to do that. So that's a report feature that we put out there. See what else we got here. Some other custom actions. We have see, send mail action. We have fixed attachments. We made some updates in the parse CSV action to handle more data types. Added support for format, number, and string as NITRO functions. Added support for placeholder and mail template. So some cool things. A lot of things we've done for the custom action. We've also done for the NITRO workflows. There's a new backup function. Oh, this is a good one. Let me show you this. So this is a backup item that is, instead of moving, we have a move item, which would basically copy an item from one list to another in case you never need to archive or delete from your primary list. You could archive or move an item to a archive list, but there's still a possibility data could be lost when you're doing that archive because you're moving it from one to another. Let me see if I can find a good example here of this one. So let's name tickets. Archive using scheduled query. We turn this one off. Let me see if I can show you that backup feature. So I got a move items actions. Where is that document? It's in the move item. All right. Well, rather than poke around and I'm not seeing it, but so the idea behind it really is that there's a backup item, which is it's not going to back it up to a SharePoint list, but what it'll do is back it up to a JSON and document library. So that way you have the data. The data will be there. It'll be in the JSON, but you can parse through it and see the data. So that way there's no data loss with the backup item. The information is still there. Maybe not presented in the same way as the NITRO form, but at least it's not gone, right? That could be a problem if the data just disappears entirely. We want to make sure you have a way to back it up and still be able to retain access to it. So the backup item option is there. Just for some reason not seeing it, wasn't able to locate it ahead of this meeting. So then there's other options, and we also made some enhancements to the move item action itself, again, to help reduce data loss, where you can copy version history, you can copy, even if we don't specifically do a mapping of items, because if you can look in here, you have your list mappings, or basically you have to have the list, the target list has all the same columns as the parent list, and if it doesn't, some of that data could get lost. So what we've done is, we're going to move any data that is not found, like say the primary item, the source ticket, or whatever it is, has data on it that doesn't have a corresponding field in the archive ticket or archive list. It's going to take all those fields and put them into one kind of CCS unmapped data, unmapped column data, so that again, not going to be lost. Your data is still going to be there, just because it it doesn't have anywhere to go. We're just going to put it into one common column that for unmapped data. So that's another thing we released recently with our workflows. So that's covers a lot of what the kind of new features we put out there. We do have some questions coming in, so let me go ahead and address some of those. For the print list, can we print items from multiple lists as one document? So for list prints, I'd have to think about that. It might be possible, but I have to think about how we could do that. Print items from multiple lists as one document. I think I have to understand the use case a little more. Maybe we can reach out to you directly and take a look at that one. But as it stands, I don't believe there's a direct way to do that, where you could take multiple items and print them out on one sheet. I know we can use the related lookup items and see some data from one list to another list. Like if you take this tickets form here and we come over to our print option, you'll see that we have data from other lists in here, but only through the relation. So it's not all the data, it's not all the items, it'll be only the items related to this particular document or particular list. So I'll reach out to you afterwards and get a little more detail on that specific question, because I don't believe there is a direct way to do it, but I'd like to take a look at it and see what kind of scenario you're trying to accomplish there. Okay, so the print template. So if you go to get to the print, so I have a question about how to get to the print template or get to the item print area. So if you any list view really should have these item print, list print options at the top. If it's not in your Crow Canyon list view, that's a setting where we've whoever administered it probably decided to hide those, which is maybe that's what they wanted. You can see down here we don't have, well, you don't have any items, so that's not really helpful. But if we go over to the actual site contents, let me do that. And go to the standard list view in the tickets list. And click that. It should appear as one of the items here. So, in your standard list, SharePoint list view, it should always appear there as well. So you go to item print from there and be able to get to it. So hopefully that answers your question on how you could get to that item print button. If you're needing to go to the print manager, of course, that's in our NITRO apps. That's one way to get to it, is through the NITRO app screen right here. Another option is to go through the list settings. So if I come over here to this particular list settings, I can also get to the print manager settings this way. So a couple different ways to get to the manager settings, a couple different ways to get to that item print actual button. But if you still need help with that, certainly let me know and we can follow up with you afterwards. Then one more question we have in here is how can we attach a date filter for more than one graph? So each graph, each report is in and of itself a report. So there isn't a way to apply a common filter across multiple graphs, like on the same page, I imagine is what you're saying, or on the fly date filters would not apply to more than one report at a time. If you want to apply a date filter, you can use the list views and just do it that way. If you have the same list view across multiple reports, it has the same date filter, but that could be a little tricky, I don't know, to manage. But you would be able to manage the date filter from one common view, which is used across multiple reports. So that could be one way to accomplish what you're looking for. But again, we can follow up on that one. Yeah, all right, so that pretty much covers the questions we had, covers the topics I wanted to go into today. You're looking for more updates in January. Hopefully we'll get some really good stuff going for you in the new year, and I'll be able to show it to you then. But certainly, if you have any questions at any time, feel free to reach out. We're, our team is always available to take a look at your questions and hopefully get them answered, and go from there. So I think with that, I appreciate everyone coming today, and I hope you have a happy holiday season, whatever you celebrate or whatever you're doing. Enjoy the winter solstice and the lengthening of the days coming up in the next 10 days or so. We'll start having longer days, which will be nice. And it'll be a good holiday season and a good new year. So really, really got some great stuff coming in the new year as far as what's on our dev schedule. So really, really excited to show that stuff to you in the coming year. But again, appreciate everyone joining these workshops throughout the year, throughout today especially, and throughout the year, of course. And again, there will be a short survey afterwards. If you have any topics that you want to cover, would like to see me cover, we can look at those and see what we can get on the schedule for the coming months. But again, appreciate everyone, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Krista, anything else?
Oh, thanks so much, James. I really enjoyed seeing all the updates myself, and I thought we had some really great questions today. So just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for your participation and support. We're so glad to have you as customers. And as James said, we hope you have a very happy holiday season.
All right, thanks, Krista. Thanks, everyone. Take care.